The Storror Tech Tens are finally out after years in the making. I got my hands on a pair, and today we're going to find out if these shoes are as good as Storror claims they are. So, without further ado, let's open them up and... At first glance, these shoes look so sick. I usually prefer white shoes, but I really like these all black ones. The first thing I noticed is the triple S logo, and I love that detail. The Storror logo on the tongue and the way the laces are set also look really nice. The shoe looks pretty breathable, and I really hope that they are. But the next thing I looked at was the thickness of the rubber. The thickness seems great. It doesn't look like it's too much, and it doesn't look like it's too little. Speaking of the rubber, this looks incredible, and I think it's going to be super grippy. But looking isn't enough, so let's get out and test them. There are three main things I want to test with these shoes: how they feel outside, how they feel in the gym, and if they're good for hacky sack. To test the shoes in a gym, I took a trip to Hub PTC with my good friend Abbas. When I got to the gym, I found out that AJ, one of the Hub staff members, was there wearing the gray and black Tech Tens. I came to the gym wearing my Reebok Club C's and began to warm up in those. I started with a classic Hub warm-up challenge, and then tried some rail prees and some cat leaps, or arm jumps if you're weird. Throughout this test, there were several things I wanted to try out. I wanted to try walking and standing, just see if the shoes are comfortable enough to be in. I also wanted to do standing prees, drop prees, running prees, rail prees, and tag prees. With these jumps, I wanted to test how grippy the shoes were and how they felt with impact. I also wanted to try cat leaps and see how well my feet stick to the wall or how much they slide. The last thing I wanted to test was different surfaces. It could be stuff like wood, concrete, granite, metal, stuff like that. So, with those challenges in mind, I swapped out the Reebok Club C's for the Storror Tech Tens. So the first thing I noticed is they're a little tight, it feels like. My toe is pretty close, so it feels squishy. The wide toe feels fantastic. There's a lot of padding inside the shoe too, which I don't know how I feel about yet, but so far they feel pretty nice. One other thing too is they feel heavy to hold, but when you put them on your feet, they actually don't feel heavy to jump in. They feel pretty light. For the most part, the shoes feel pretty comfortable to wear. They're a little too snug for my liking, and this is really the only major concern I have with the shoes. But I'll get into that concern a little later in the video.
Love the look. Comfort-wise, they're great for the wide toe box. I have always had an issue with the back of shoes being too high. When I go over my toes, it digs into my Achilles, and sometimes there's a pinch. I've gotten it a couple times today, but I think even that is breaking in a bit, so it's a bit uncomfortable. They're gonna be perfect though.
I revisited the classic warm-up. Things were feeling good. Next up was the drop pre.
Oh, stuck him!
I arch and I didn't feel it, so that's good.
Oh, sick.
AJ arched him, but he said he didn't feel it. This isn't the biggest drop pre, but so far the impact feels great. We'll test more impact in the outdoor section of this video. Next up I tried this tag pre, one to the wall and one to the rail. And yeah, it felt great. Now the one thing I thought the shoes would fail on was cat leaps, and my first test wasn't looking good.
It's not good. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
I do definitely think fresh out the box, strikes have like crazy good grip, but I haven't noticed that with any other shoe, like right out of the box. I do think the grip needs to break in a little bit. Before I realized like, oh, these are grippy.
I tried a normal standing cat leap, and to my surprise, they worked fine. They worked well on the climb up too. I was curious though, how would they fare on a drop cat? They slipped a little, but not as bad as I expected them to. I decided to take it a step further and try one with more drop. And I slid straight down. So they kinda work. Next up was the running pre, and yeah, they worked well. Yeah, just ignore this. So I forgot to record a standing pre, but I did record this plyo that Abbas found, so that'll have to do. On my first attempt, I slid to my arches on the landing. To be fair, I didn't use the best technique and I stuck it fine the next attempt, so we'll still give it a pass. So far, the shoes were performing pretty well. All that was left was to jump on some rails. My first few attempts at this little pre didn't go well. I kept sliding a bit. After wiping the chalk off my shoes, they worked great.
It sound right, boy.
Overall, the shoes performed pretty well in the gym.
Okay, second time wearing them. They already broke. This little part right here. Nothing major, but it is a little concerning.
I also included this clip because at first, I was nervous the shoes weren't going to stick on this painted wood. They actually gripped pretty well, I just overshot. I tried again, and the stick felt super nice. It made me really happy. And with that, it was time to test the shoes in the streets. So once again, I swapped out the Club C's for the Tech Tens, and I was so excited to finally test these shoes outside. The New England winter has been harsh this year, so it's been tough trying to find spots to train at. But after a quick hacky sack warm up, which we'll get into later, we finally started to jump outside. We started this cold sesh off with a few small jumps on rails and concrete. For the most part, they're really good. A little slippage, but that's to be expected on rails. Now, remember that concern I said I had with the shoes? Yeah, let's talk about that. So Storror recommends that if you're in the half sizes, to size down. I've only trained in these shoes twice in the gym and wore them to lift in a few sessions. There's already a mold of my big toe on the top here. And in a lot of jumps, if I overshoot, I sometimes feel like my toes are going to break out. Now, I could have better technique, and this might not be as bad, but realistically, I'll never have perfect technique 100% of the time. So while it's not an actual issue now, I am concerned for future sessions. But with that addressed, let's continue training. I wanted to try this tack free, as I thought it would be a good test for the shoes. I was nervous about overshooting because I didn't want to step in the snow. At first my grip on the wall felt nice, but on my second attempt I slipped a little. And then a little more on my third attempt, and then even more on my fourth attempt.
Slipped. Oh no. Dude, it's scary. I keep slipping on the tack now.
My fifth attempt was the worst slip yet. It could have been due to a number of factors, but I wasn't left feeling confident. So I decided to leave it.
Don't look at that. Since this is a Storror shoe review, it's time to go to the next spot day. Let me know how my next spot day was.
So with that, we ice skated our way to another spot. But that spot was also covered in snow, so we had to find another spot. Luckily, this next spot was pretty clear.
I wanted to try the jump from there to there, but it's covered in ice. So, let's test out the impact.
In true Storror fashion, we tried these wall pop 360 cats.
Maybe it'd be better if I had some swagnesium, but I don't.
Yeah, I busted it way cleaner, but let's focus on the shoes here, okay? They felt nice for the climb up. I also wanted to test how impact felt. Not bad, but I wanted to try a little more. Sick? Yeah, they felt great.
Alright, so we dried this off as best we could. It's still a little wet, but not terrible. So we're gonna see how the shoes do.
The last thing to look at here was the drop free, and as soon as I was about to go, my last battery died because it was that cold. So I just switched to my phone and got it done. The pillar was still a little wet, but the shoes stuck just fine. I like that.
The left foot felt fine. This one went right into the snow, but I just misjudged it.
Did not want to take that drop. And one thing I gotta mention to those making parkour clothing, please don't forget about us tall skinny folk. I'm 6'1" or 185 centimeters tall, and these hardware cargos are so short, and I have tied them as tight as possible to fit my waist. So thank you for hearing me out, now back to the shoes. A few days later, we took a trip to Cape Cod, and since it was mentioned in a song used in Storror Summer, I just had to include this.
Patrick, your
Fanboy.
is showing.
I started warming up with some hacky sack again, but then I remembered. This is America. I really only added this section so I can make some jokes, but the shoes worked really well here. Sometimes they worked too well. I kept overshooting this jump, and the shoes would stick, but my body kept going. Ignore my right foot. So overall, the shoes feel great. I really enjoyed training in them. I also just feel cool, but maybe that's just because I'm such a huge Storror fan. They look cool, they grip great, but in order to test the durability and longevity of the shoes, I'll have to train in them for some time, so make sure to subscribe to catch part 2 when that drops.
Oh, they stick on trees.
Ah now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Are the Storror Tech Tens good for hacky sack? Yes. So are the shoes worth buying? If you have the money, I would say yes. Supporting people within the community is one of the best things we can do to help the sport grow. And regarding the grip and the wide toe box, these might just be the best shoes for parkour.